Gerson Borrero with City and State TV, streaming live for the SOMOS conference, the fall conference of 2014. We're still in the hub at the Condado Plaza Hotel where the main conference is being held. And we're now joined by Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, who is from the, actually, what role are you in the Catholic, in the New York Archdiocese?
Well, I'm the Executive Director of Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of New York.
Right, at this point.
At this point.
We were talking beforehand, you were ordained in 1976. 76, and your first parish was?
In Washington Heights, St. Elizabeth's.
So you're really Dominican?
I am. I am.
So you're here at the SOMOS conference, and I know that the church has many challenges. There were some schools recently announced by Cardinal Dolan with regards that needed to be closed. It's a changing city, it's a changing world of needs in terms of the communities that exist in New York City. You're here at the SOMOS conference. What's happening in Puerto Rico that connects to the island of Manhattan that you see similarities in terms of the charity work that is done by Charities or Catholic Charities that, as we know it, throughout Latin America and Puerto Rico?
New York is a city of immigrants, and so much of New York City and its vibrancy is connected with the Caribbean, whether it be Puerto Rico, whether it be the Dominican Republic, or other places. And Catholic Charities, we work with immigrants from over 100 different countries throughout the year. And it's a very, very important partnership for us. So it's natural to be here because we do partnership with government, we do partnership with private companies in order to provide help and create need for non-Catholics and Catholics alike.
You know, some of the reaction, maybe of our viewers of City and State, and we're streaming live now, they say, well, wait a minute, isn't there supposed to be a separation of church and state? But in reality, some of the work that is actually, because it's all from public monies, you're depending on the goodwill of people that are actually in the good of their hearts to be able to contribute and do the good work. Is this a way to, a better effective way of using resources? Is that mainly the way you approach it? Or is there another secret to this, attending the SOMOS conference in which you have legislators whose communities are directly impacted by some of the problems faced by the immigrant community?
The separation of church and state cannot mean that the church is indifferent to what's going on in our communities. If that's what the separation of church and state means, I want no part of it. As a church, we need to be involved in our communities. We need to be involved with the state because together we can create the common good. So I'm here this week because we have some common interests to help vulnerable people, Catholic Charities, the state legislature, elected officials. All of us together need to help our neighbors in need, and that's why I'm here.
On the issue, aside from the poverty of those that immigrate, there's also the real issue of how immigrants are viewed in modern day USA. There is a, before they used to be, we welcome the masses and we embrace them and, all that the Statue of Liberty is supposed to represent. How do you perceive, and I imagine your ancestors came from another part that wasn't where the settlers were.
We came from County Bronx.
So you have a city of immigrants.
Yes.
And you have a situation where the reality is that because of public policy and somehow people being afraid of people that speak a different language from different parts of the world, this immigrant community, the undocumented, as they call them, they refer to it as with the I word, which I don't use, because I don't think in any human being it should be referred to that way. How is the church becoming or impacting through your work, not necessarily getting meddling in the political process, because that it's Republicans, Democrats, or Democrats, whichever. How do you then impact on the fact that they're human beings?
Well, as we say, documents are not documents. Right documents, wrong documents. Every person is made in the image of God. And therefore every person has basic human needs and basic human rights. So that's our belief. Gerson, I think in some senses we might be a little bit lucky in New York. We're not perfect. But I think New York has always been a place that has welcomed immigrants. We still do it. We don't do it perfectly. Boy, when I travel around the country, there's sometimes a very different attitude because in New York, what I think we realize is that immigrants are our future. And we need to invest in immigrants. We need to be open to immigrants because that's what makes our city great. So And to some extent, Republican, Democrat, a lot of New York people are open to immigrants. Maybe not always as much as we'd like, but we don't have some of the problems that some other communities have had.
Monsignor, how do you deal with when you're faced like that, when it's like a culture shock that you see this, a welcoming city, an embracing city, a city that understands what immigration is about, and then you find yourself as a person, you know, a man of the cloth, and you say, wow, what is this? Is this really America? Is this the United States? And how do you adjust to that, or do you try, is there any convincing on your part, on the part of the church? Can the church do more to dispel this fear of immigrants that exists in the country right now?
Well, we try. And I mean, I've been to different parts of the country. We've been very supportive of comprehensive immigration reform. We try to communicate through our parishes, and I think we've done a good job in doing it, but we can always do better, and some communities are not as open to it as others.
Catholic Charities in New York, how does one, you know, this is Puerto Rico is a predominantly Catholic, very Christian,
right,
but predominantly Catholic island nation, as Puerto Ricans and many other Latinos. How does one assist or help the church in the work that you do that benefits directly the communities that some of us represent?
Well, we say there are two ways we want to get you involved in Catholic Charities. If you need help, we'll provide help. If you want to help, you can come, you can volunteer. We always take donations. You can refer people to us. And the one thing, Gerson, that is so absolutely essential to us as Catholic Charities, we help people regardless of religion. Doesn't matter. Catholic, non-Catholic, everybody's made in God's image and likeness, and so if we can, we'll provide the help.
So that there's no closure to anybody that's in need, you'll be open. The presence of Catholic Charities here in Puerto Rico, do you work in conjunction with the Archdiocese in New York? Do they work with you? You work with them, and is it impacted shared roles? Or
Yeah, I mean, in every diocese,
right,
there's a Catholic charity.
Right.
But we have sister dioceses. I've referred people, and actually one of our organizations, the New York Foundling, has a Head Start program here in Puerto Rico. So there's a strong connection here, and as you know, one of those areas in New York where a lot of Puerto Ricans first came was El Barrio,
right,
and that's one of our strongest programs serving that community. So there's a strong connection.
Well, I want to thank Monsignor Sullivan. I know that there's still a lot of work. Hopefully that you've been able to talk with some of the lawmakers, the policymakers, and that you take something away from the SOMOS conference, the fall conference of 2014, and we'll be talking to you soon and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Monsignor Sullivan for the New York Archdiocese. I'm Gerson Borrero for City and State, and we'll continue here from the 2014 fall conference from the Condado Plaza Hub for City and State TV.